Welcome back to our Legacy Virtual Users Group community. Every day is Tuesday's Tip Day. We're celebrating Family History Month by using the letters of the alphabet to learn more about and play around in our Legacy program. We discussed some of Legacy's keyboard shortcuts back at F for F keys. The purpose of keyboard shortcuts is to help us keep our fingers on the keyboard rather than using the mouse to click around on tabs. It's a simple matter of how we navigate our Legacy program. The most important consideration is what works for you. Some of us are excellent typists. We're quick and accurate, and we know and use keyboard shortcuts in our other programs, and so using keyboard shortcuts in Legacy is efficient. Some of us are hunt and peck typists, and we're using our Legacy program to add the basic information, and then we simply attach or link images or information copy and pasted from subscription websites or other resources. You know what kind of typist you are, so make a decision what works best for you, and then go with it. I have a suggestion though. If you're planning on spending a bit of time in your Legacy program and online, typing is a must. There are several apps that you can use to improve your typing skills, and it will save you time in the long run to get a bit faster and a lot more accurate. We have a long way to go before we can do our data entry by voice control or with a series of touch commands. Just something to think about. And if you want to speed up your data entry, why not learn a baker's dozen of the shortcut keys, the ones most useful to you, and then get to work on finding those ancestors. If you're willing to find out more about keyboard shortcuts, where will you find them? You just knew I was going to mention the help system in Legacy, didn't you? Clicking on the keyword keyboard and then clicking on display pops up a laundry list of keyboard shortcuts to make your data entry easier. 93 in fact, if I counted correctly. And that's nice, but it's really far too many to try to learn and make use of. So you have some decisions to make. But first, let's take a quick look at the keyboard shortcuts that are available. The first group of keyboard shortcuts is to bring up the pull-down menus, and that's the Legacy ribbon or toolbar, or to bypass menus on the main views. And those main views are the big six: Legacy Home, Family, Pedigree, Descendant, Chronology, and Index. Why not play around with the Alt plus or the Control plus keyboard shortcuts and see if any of them are intuitive and work for you? It's easy enough if you remember that the Alt plus Action tab brings up whichever tab you want to work with. Alt plus R will bring up your Reports tab. Alt plus L will bring up your Tools tab. And in the big six views, it's easy enough if you remember that the Alt plus F1 through Alt plus F6 tab will bring up whichever view you want to work in. So Alt plus F1 brings up your Legacy Home. Alt plus F6 brings up the Index view. In the bypassing menus keyboard shortcuts, there are a variety of them to check out. We're going to take a look at three of my favorites. Control plus A in your family view brings up the ages for the couple and gives you additional information: the day of the week when the birth, baptism, marriage, death, or burial took place, as well as the length of marriage. Control plus T brings up your advanced tagging for the highlighted person. And Control plus Z brings up customized Legacy options, so you can play around and get Legacy to look just the way you want it to. The next set of keyboard shortcuts are found in our dialog boxes and in the source clipboard. Depending on how you work with your data and sources, these may or may not be helpful, but let's at least know how they work. The individual information screen and the edit event screen are both considered dialog boxes. Now take a look at the underlined letter in each of the words. Typing Alt plus S in the event dialog box will save the event. Typing Alt plus H brings up the help system for this particular feature, and typing Alt plus P brings up the spell check feature. When you're working in a dialog box, why not try Alt plus the underlined letter in the word, and the feature or function will be at your command. When you're working in the source clipboard, Alt plus 1 opens the source clipboard. Alt plus 2 assigns the source to the current field. Alt plus 3 assigns the source to all non-blank fields, and Alt plus 4 assigns the source to the unspecified area in your source list. Now, this is one area that I don't play around in. I use the first key and work my way through each source. My middle name is cautious, especially where sources are concerned. The third area of keyboard shortcuts is two-letter combinations, and this is one area of shortcuts that I love. I use these all the time because they simply make sense to me. The first letter is for action, so A is for add, E is for edit, L is for link, and N is for new. The second letter is for the individual type. D is for daughter, S is for son, C is for child, W is for wife, and H is for husband. So step 1, action, plus step 2, the individual type, will give you your shortcut key. AD, add daughter. EC, edit child. LW, link wife. You get the idea. The keyboard shortcut makes entering children so easy, especially if you're working from a family group sheet or list of children, both for adding and editing. And our last group of keyboard shortcuts are the standard ones you find in the Windows program. And these should be ones that we're all used to because they're the basics, like Control-C, copy, Control-P, paste. And Control-C together with Control-P, the copy-paste function, is especially useful with subscription websites and something like Find My Past memorial information. I just copy and paste all of that information directly into my notes section. Two more to remember are Control plus F, which is find, and Control plus Z, which is undo. In the Notes section, you can mouse over to the bold, italics, underline, or superscript. Or you can simply type Control plus the action you want. So Control plus B is bold, Control plus U is underline. You decide what's most efficient for you. So there you have it, my baker's dozen of keyboard shortcuts. The ones I use are Add Wife, Add Daughter, and Add Son in the two-letter keyboard shortcut combination. I also use the Alt plus V for View, Alt plus R for Reports, and Alt plus L for Tools in the Action tab keyboard shortcuts. I use Control A for Ages, Control S for Sources, and Control T for advanced tagging in the Notes keyboard shortcuts. And I use the tried and true Windows keyboard shortcuts that also work in Legacy. Control C and Control P, copy and paste. Control F for find, and finally Control Z for undo. My baker's dozen of keyboard shortcuts helps me get through my Legacy data entry more efficiently and more accurately. What are your baker's dozen for keyboard shortcuts? Why not share any of the ones you find especially useful here in the Legacy Virtual Users Group community? Thanks for joining us each day during the month of October as we celebrate Family History Month by using the letters of the alphabet to learn more about our Legacy software and features. I'll see you back here tomorrow for our monthly Legacy Virtual Users Group Hangout on Air. Please consider either joining us in the Hangout or viewing the Hangout live or after the fact by watching the recording.